Now, coming to the second part, that is the in the second part I would like to discuss about the structure of the United Nations. Okay. The structure of the UN as an institution. So, and just before when you were talking about the structure, a couple of questions here and there. I mean, let me just see what are the questions. Let me just look into the questions which is coming. Good evening, good afternoon, sir. Okay, Woodrow, father of the international relation. Yeah, Woodrow Wilson can be termed as one of them because he talked about the the international what do you call idealism. One of the major forces as far as the idealism in foreign policy and all. Then do we have to integrate the class note? Yes, yes. I mean, whatever material we are giving, please integrate. I mean, don't doubt regarding this. Then is Taiwan also? No, Taiwan is not a member because China, Taiwan is the one China policy, because Chinese policy is there is only one China, that is People's Republic of China. And since you asked this question, there is before talking about the structure and all, China, there are two Chinas right now. One is PRC, People's Republic of China, another is ROC, that is Republic of China, which is called Taiwan. But UN and others have recognized only one China, that is People's Republic of China. So, China means People Republic. So, Taiwan has no recognition as an independent country, it is not an independent member. Okay. Why didn't the UN interfere in Armenia? See, that is Vatican a member of the UN? Yes, Vatican is a member of a UN. And why not UN interfere in Armenia? Another question. This is the problem. See, UN is almost a dysfunctional organization today. We have seen the aims and objectives and all, but unfortunately, the UN is not a functional organization today, it is a dysfunctional organization in Armenia, Azerbaijan and all. Okay, I will be talking about that, but in one of the current affairs I will be doing, I will do it, please wait, but unfortunately they are not doing. And nuclear bomb was dropped in 1945, that is okay, but the main concern, the formation of the UN was, it was almost sure that Japan and Germany and will be defeated. So, at that time it was started anyway. Was UN against colonialism at the time of formation? See, in fact, the UN talked about self-determination, and it was almost very clear that colonization, and the UN has an organ of the UN specifically working to help those countries who have come out of the colonialism. So, naturally we can say UN as an institution was also to ensure a smooth transition from colonies to non-colonies or other independent countries. So, UN can be, you can term that the UN played a crucial role in decolonization of the world, absolutely no doubt regarding this. So, this was been asked by Joy Prakash, right. Then our aims and mandates are the, mandate or aim, we can say this is the aim of the aim and mandate by and large is the same. Okay. So, what are the allied powers? All the 26 powers including US, UK, France, USSR, even China, people, I mean now the People's Republic of China was not there at that time, ROC. See, all these countries who fought against Japan, Germany and countries like Italy, they are called the allied powers. Okay, that is the meaning of allied powers. What are the top nations provided? I am just coming into here. I mean, veto Sabha, Bathwini structure of the UN. I have to speak. Then I will be talking about that. Please control your emotions. Okay. So abhi to ruko bhai. Abhi to ruko. Ashan, Ayush, you are asking ahead of the topic. Okay. Abhi to mujhe aane do. So let me. So this is about some of the questions. Now, as I was mentioning, and let me just go ahead with the second topic which I am discussing, that is the structure of the UN. Once again, structure of the United Nations. Okay. So, please listen carefully. There are many organs within the UN. So, we can say number one is the General Assembly. Okay. It is the General Assembly. And this is the, we can say the town meeting of the world, we can say. Okay. The town meeting of the world. the town meeting of the world. Let me just add this. And where all the 193 members have membership in this, all the 193 members have membership, all the 193 members have membership in this, and they have a right to speak, but there and discuss. All the 193 members right now, they can speak and discuss, but they have their decisions are not binding. Please remember, their decisions are not binding. Decisions are not binding. They can discuss, but the decisions are taken by whom? The decisions are taken by the Security Council. Security Council has the decision making power. Okay. So, a couple of points. I was mentioning the purpose of the UN already. I said in the charter, I talk of maintenance of international peace and security, development of friendly relation among the countries, international cooperation, all those things. Anyway, and also they wanted to ensure that the UN wanted to save the world from a third world war. There is a major kin, and also to protect the human rights of the people. I already said. And when we come to the principal organ, that is what the first principal organ we are talking is the General Assembly, and that is the town meeting of the world. That is what we talk about the UN system. When we talk about the UN system, in that the principal organ. Okay. So, the organ, there are 6 organs. Number 1 is the General Assembly. I will come to that. Say, let me talk about the second one. So, one is the General Assembly. Then number 2 is the Security Council. I will explain this. First, let me write it, otherwise you will confuse a bit. So, rather than explaining about General Assembly more, I am just going to the second organ, that is the Security Council. Number 3 is the Economic and Social Council. Economic and Social Council, otherwise it is known as ECOSOC. Economic and Social Council, the short form is ECOSOC. Then the Trusteeship Council. See, this is the council which was created to help the decolonization of the former colonies, especially in Africa and in Asia, to help them to create a government and infrastructure and everything. That is what called the Trusteeship Council. Then the International Court of Justice, ICJ. International Court of Justice, and then the Secretariat. Okay. So, these are the 6 organs. So, do not forget there are 6 organs: General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, the ECOSOC, then the Trusteeship Council, which was specifically created for the decolonization of Africa and Asia, but today Trusteeship Council has no work because there is no colony left, there is nothing. So, Trusteeship Council is not having any major activity right now. Then International Court of Justice, ICJ, and the Secretariat. Okay. Then when it comes to the United Nations system, the UN system, sometimes there is a confusion. The UN system, one is the this 6, we are the principal organs of UN. Then coming to the UN system, just for your understanding, the UN system, including the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and 12 other independent organizations known as specialized agencies are linked to the UN through a cooperative agreement. There are 12 specialized agencies and plus IMF and World Bank. They are known as, or other, I will say 12 what you call independent organization. Now, all these things, so sorry, 12 independent organizations, please do not confuse, 12 independent organizations plus IMF and World Bank together known as the specialized agencies, and they are linked to the UN through cooperation or cooperative agreements. Okay. So, including now in that independent organization, including WHO, and other, in International Civil Aviation Organization, okay, International Civil Aviation Organization, etc., are autonomous bodies created by intergovernmental agreement. Okay. So, anyway, so some of them, I mean, there are, as I told, there are 12 independent organization plus IMF, World Bank, all put together, that we talk as the UN system, okay, the UN system. And in addition, a number of UN offices, programs, funds, etc., are there, like UN High Commission for Refugees, UN Development Program, UNICEF, like that. There are more organizations which are all linked to the UN. But when you talk about when we talk about the UN, first of all, the structure of the UN, we are talking about 6 organs, and then we are talking about the UN system. UN system has many independent organizations, including WHO, IMF, World Bank, UNICEF, all of them are there. They are independent organization having an agreement with the UN. Okay, they are linked to the UN, but that we call it as the UN system in general. Okay, so we are talking about the organs. And General Assembly is the first one I said, is the only the General Assembly. Let me just finally once again let me talk about the General Assembly. Once again, the General Assembly, the General Assembly is the only major organ of the UN in which all members are represented. All members are represented. All members are represented. Okay, and it is called the town meeting of the world. I already said the town meeting of the world. And what are the powers of this General Assembly? It elects the members of other major organs. Okay, that General Assembly can elect the members of other major organs, including the non-permanent members of the Security Council, including the non-permanent members of the Security Council. Okay, so one major function is the election of the members of other organs, including the non-permanent members of the Security Council. Also, the General Assembly elects 54 members to the ECOSOC. 54 members to Economic and Social Council. Okay. Then any elected members of the Trusteeship Council, but of course Trusteeship Council is not there, and also they also elect the judges of the International Court of Justice. They elect the judges of ICJ, judges of the ICJ. Then it also appoints the Secretary General of the UN. It appoints the Secretary General of the UN Secretariat, of the UN Secretariat. Okay. And of course, ultimately it will be on the recommendation of the Security Council only, but it has to be. Okay. The UN General Assembly also has the power to admit new members. General Assembly approves the UN budget also. It can admit new members. It approves the budget. It approves the budget of the UN. Also is that is where the maximum deliberation, maximum discussions. General Assembly is the place where discussions are held. Okay. So each in the discussion there may not be, because implementation power is not, executive power is not there with the General Assembly, but maximum deliberations take place in the UN General Assembly, and each member has one vote. There is no veto power, nothing here, and various questions, everything will be, and it is by simple majority. Okay. And the decisions are arrived by simple majority. So I am just repeating, the General Assembly, all members are represented. they can elect the members of various organs, including the non-permanent members of the Security Council. I will come to that. 54 members of the ECOSOC, elect the judges of the ICJ, Secretary General of the UN Secretariat, admit new members, approve the budget. Maximum deliberations are taking place here. Decisions are taken by simple majority, if at all. So, that is where the discussions are taking place. But as I was mentioning, one big issue you should understand here is this General Assembly has no power to implement their decision. The opinion of the General Assembly we got, no power to implement the decision, because General Assembly is not the executive wing of the UN. The executive wing is Security Council. Executive wing is the Security Council. So, that is the difference. And as far as the sessions are concerned, General Assembly's regular session begin each year in September. Okay, every year, that is where the prime ministers of all the country or the leaders of each country will be given a chance to address the General Assembly, and the session every year begins in September, each year in September, and normally it is for 2 months, and Assembly elects a new president every time. So, every time a new president is elected, president of the General Assembly is elected, 21 vice presidents and chairpersons of the main committees, all a president and 21 vice presidents are elected for each year. Their term is only for that particular year, and also to ensure the equitable geographical representation, the presidency of the Assembly rotates each year among the 5 groups of states. In fact, this General Assembly or rather the UN members are divided into 5 groups. UN is divided into 5 groups of member states, and the president of the General Assembly also comes from each state or each group in rotation. One is African group. See, these things are based on the 1945 reality, the Second World War reality. That is where the problems are there. After 75 years, this reality has completely changed, but UN has not changed. Then Asian group. See, Asia and the Pacific. Okay, please remember, Asia alone accounts for more than 60% of the population. More than 60% of the population of the world. Africa, another almost 15% of the population of the world. So, that itself adds up to 75% of the population of the world. But how many are represented in the Security Council and all the decision making body? That is the challenge. Anyway, Africa, Asia, then East European. Because East European countries were the communist countries at that time. Okay, they were following communism, and that is the East European bloc. Then Latin America and Caribbean islands. Latin America and Caribbean islands. And number 5 is Western Europe. But this Western Europe includes, please remember, this Western Europe includes USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Okay, this, even though it is not termed as the Western Europe also includes the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, etc. So, there are 5 groups. Please see, African group, I think around 54 countries are there, but the population is around 10-15%. But Asia and Pacific, Asia Pacific region, this is where, and the smaller islands of Pacific are also included in the Asian group, but more than 60% of the population, and our representation in the Security Council are minimal. Okay. Then East European, again, most of the East European countries are, it is only for the namesake East European countries right now, because there is no more communism and many of the East European countries already joined the Western Europe. Okay. So, East Europe is still continuing as a bloc. Latin America and Caribbean islands we can understand, but Western Europe, they hold most of the power. You see, Western Europe includes UK, it includes France, it includes USA. Okay. So, what is happening is this is the this group, the Western Europe holds extraordinary powers or much more than what they deserve right now. Anyway, so the presidentship of the Security General Assembly will be rotating among these 5 groups, and the assembly forms the general debate and everything, and all these things will be continuing, and there are many committees. I mean, we need not worry about that particular aspect. So, that is how the General Assembly, but please remember, General Assembly has no power to implement their decision. They can discuss, they can debate, but their decisions implementing power is not there. It is the executive wing is the Security Council. Okay. There are 5 groups of countries in that, I have already said. Even the Secretary General also is elected in rotation from these groups. Okay. Right now it is the Western Europe in the group. So, now then once this Secretary General's term is over, when the new Secretary General is to be elected, it will be taken from another group of country, maybe from the East European country, then go to Latin America, like this, that in rotation it will be going. Anyway, so coming to the Security Council, the next one is the General Assembly, the second important organ is the Security Council. Russia at that time used to come under, the East European countries, because Soviet Union, the USSR was leading the East European countries at that time. So, right now Russia still continues to be in the India in the General Assembly. We have who will represent India in the General Assembly? The Indian permanent representative will be there. Okay. In the UN, there is a permanent representative, an IFS officer normally. He or she will be representing India. India's permanent representative in the UN will be sitting in the UN General Assembly. Okay. So, ICJ, even already right now we have an ICJ judge from India. Okay. There are most of the time we have one, because they are appointed for 9 years. So, right now we have an ICJ judge, do not worry. Is China, as China moving into South China Sea, is it clear that China does not fear UN? Please wait, I mean, whether China, all those things we will talk about that. Okay, what is Holocaust? You please look into dictionary and you will understand that. With thoda history, the world history, तुम्हारा zero है उसका मतलब. Okay, so please Google and see what is Holocaust. You will understand. Okay, so self-determination means the people of the country should have the power to determine what kind of system they should have. When a colonial rule was going on, they did not have the power to decide what they want. That is the meaning of self-determination. Can UN decision supersede? No, UN has no mechanism to supersede a country's decision and all. That is the problem. Okay. So, anyway, then one last question before I talk about that, why are all the headquarters of the UN in Switzerland? Wherever they have offered, if the Switzerland is offering a place, because you need space, the tax free things and all, so Switzerland was offering facilities. That is why we were creating the institute. Like New York City, New York has offered for the entire UN by the US, except the International Court of Justice. Every other organ of the UN is located in the in New York. Okay. So, the facilities were given by New York, by the US, that is why it has been created there. Anyway, coming to the Security Council, the second organ I am discussing, the Security Council has the primary responsibility under the Charter for maintenance of international peace and security. So, Security Council has the responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security. Okay. The primary responsibility to have the primary responsibility for the maintenance of peace and security. It is so organized that it is able to function continuously, and a representative of each of its members must be present at all times at the United Nations headquarters. See, the Security Council right now has 15 members, I will come to that. A representative should be always present. If you are a UN Security Council member, if your country, if India, right now, yes, India is a non-permanent member in the Security Council right now. Now, when you are a non-permanent member, you are one among the 15 members, your representative, it is mandatory for you to be present in the, in the house. Okay. So, that is a must, so that any important decision can be taken immediately. Okay. So, in all members, so please remember, all members should be present. All the 15 members, at least one representative of all the members of the Security Council should be present in the UN at a given time. Okay. So, as of 2020, the members who are who are the Security Council members right now, okay, the non-permanent members. See, now there are two, just before that, let me just tell you this particular point. Right now in the UN Security Council, there are 5 permanent members and 10 non-permanent members. Okay, 5 permanent members and 10 non-permanent members. Permanent members are permanent, and non-permanent members are elected for 2 years. Okay, non-permanent members are elected for 2 years, and normally every year 5 members will retire. Okay, every year 5 members will retire. And when you take charge from say 1st January say 2020, India took charge as a non-permanent member, and it will continue till 31st December 2021, 2 years. Okay, that is how 1st January you take up the membership, and in 2020 5 members took membership, including Kenya from Africa, India from Asia Pacific, because Asia mainly, Mexico from the Latin America. I mean, I am just talking about in 2020 who all took charge, just for your understanding, because every year it will be changing. So, please do not take it very seriously. 2020, then Ireland from Western European countries, and also Norway. There are some years Norway is also from the West European country only, because but next year it will be both from the East European. So, some rotation issue is there, but otherwise these are the 5 countries who took charge, from the who took charge as non-permanent members. So, that is how the situation is there. And now, coming to the permanent members, let me talk about the permanent members first. This when the permanent members have certain responsibilities. The permanent member, who are the 5 permanent members? 5 permanent members were the main team of the allied forces, that they are the US. Then at that time it was USSR, now it is Russia, UK, France and China, because the Republic of China was represented, but once the revolution took place in China in 1949, and subsequently the US recognized the People's Republic of China, that is the present day mainland China. Now, mainland China started representing China subsequently, after in 1970s they were being recognized. So, these are the 5 countries who are declared as the P5, permanent 5. They are also the N5, the nuclear 5 of the world. Okay. The P5 as well as the N5. right? And the council may meet elsewhere also. Normally, they meet at the headquarters in New York, but they can meet elsewhere also. And it is designed to be the UN's only action agency, and they are the enforcement wing of the UN. So, this is also known as the Security Council is also known as the enforcement wing, the enforcement wing of the UN. Okay. So, US, please remember US, Russia, UK, France and the People's Republic of China, that means Beijing, mainland China, they are the 5 permanent members. Earlier it was ROC, Republic of China, but they were, there was a revolt or a revolution in China in 1949, Communist Party captured power. Initially the US did not recognize, or the UN did not recognize the capture of the Communist Party. They were ruling from Taiwan. So, for many years Taiwan represented, Taiwan is known as ROC, please remember, Taiwan is ROC. They represented the UN as a permanent member till 1970s, but subsequently the US changed the position and they recognized the People's Republic of China, the Communist China as the main the actual China. Then they became, and earlier it was USSR, but when USSR broke down, okay, when USSR broke down, then it is Russia has occupied that post of the permanent membership. Okay. So, that is how it is being done, and it is, as I told you, the action agency or the enforcement wing, and of that 5 permanent members I already said, the non-permanent, and these 5 permanent members, one important thing about them is they have veto power. But the non-permanent members have no veto power. Okay, please remember, they have no non-permanent members have veto power, means the power to say no to any decision. The power to say no to any decision. And even if one member says, those who have the veto power, even if they are only one, the rest 14 is saying something else, they can, that no is more important. Now, if US says no to some decision, even if the rest of the 14 members in the Security Council say something else, but that no has value, that is the veto power. So, these 5 members are given veto power, they can say anything, any decision no. Okay. Otherwise, the non-permanent members have no veto power, and this non-permanent members are elected from the General Assembly with a 2/3 majority. Non-permanent members can be elected with a 2/3 majority. I mean, our General Assembly will elect. General Assembly elect with a 2, but in every region has a quota. As I said, Africa, then in Asia, then Latin America, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, okay, like that quota is given. So, based on that, whichever quota there is a vacancy, every year 5 members are elected to the non-permanent member, but they need to get 2/3 majority in the General Assembly, but no veto power for the non-permanent members, and the presidency rotates on a monthly on a basis. Okay, but anyway, that is doesn't the presidency of the Security Council. The presidency of the Security Council rotates on a monthly basis in the alphabetic order. Okay, and it's not a monthly, anyway, English alphabetic order, English alphabet. But it has less meaning who presides over the meeting. The president has no special power, so it doesn't matter. So, you need not remember that on a monthly basis and all, but for your sake I just said it. And each council member has only 1 vote, and normally any decision can be taken, the decision of the Security Council. Please note, this is very important. The decision of the Security Council is taken when there is 9 affirmative vote, 9 out of 15 with no veto. If somebody gives a veto, I mean those 5 members can declare a veto, but if veto is not there, 9 members should support the decision on procedural matters or by an affirmative vote by yes. At least 9 out of the 15 members should support and no veto should be there, and in 9 votes without any veto. Okay, that means all Security Council members should support, or at least they should abstain from voting. Okay, so this is the rule of great power unanimity. Okay, this is called no veto means there is a great power. These 5 members are the great powers, great power unanimity, or the veto power, the great power unanimity, it is also known as the veto power. Okay. And the other organs of the nations make recommendations to the governments. The council alone, the Security Council alone has the power to take decisions which member states are obliged under the charter. Okay. Now, if the Security Council takes a decision, Security Council can implement the decision. Please note, Security Council can implement the decision of the UN, its decision. So, whatever decision is taken by the Security Council, the member countries will have to follow it. They can impose sanction, they can even declare a war, but other organs like General Assembly or ECOSOC or all, they can only recommend, but Security Council can implement. Please remember, Security Council is the only organ which can implement its decisions. All other organs can only recommend. They can make recommendations to the government, they cannot implement. Okay. So, it is the most important organ is the Security Council. Okay. I will be talking about the veto power a bit elaborately later on, but right now please remember like this. Now, coming to ECOSOC, the third important organ is the ECOSOC or the Economic and Social Council. Okay. It coordinates the work of 14 UN specialized agencies. ECOSOC coordinates the work of 14 UN specialized agencies, 10 functional commissions, 10 functional commissions and 5 regional commissions. Please note, because Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC means economic and we are talking about Economic and Social Council. The economic aspect and the social aspects. Okay. And it receives reports from 11 UN funds. There are various funds are there, 11 UN funds. It receives the report from them and issues policy recommendation to the UN system and to the member states. Okay. So, anyway, ECOSOC also issue policy recommendation. It receives 14 or other, it coordinates the work of 14 UN specialized agencies, 10 functional commissions, 5 regional commissions, and it receives reports from 11 UN funds and programs, and it also, ECOSOC also issues policy recommendation to the UN system, as well as to the member countries. And ECOSOC is responsible for promoting higher standards of living. So, ultimately economic and social, it wants to promote higher standards of living. What are they promoting? ECOSOC promotes higher standards of living, Also, if full employment, it wants to promote employment to all the citizens of the world. Then economic and social progress, solution to the economic, solution to international economic and social and health problems. ECOSOC wants to find solutions. Solutions to what? International economic, social and the health problems. Facilitate international cultural and educational cooperation, facilitate cultural and educational cooperation, encourage universal respect for human rights, fundamental freedoms. So, in fact, encourage respect for human rights, fundamental freedom, etc., etc. 54 members. 54 members are elected. ECOSOC, Economic and Social Council, has 54 members and they are elected for 3 years at a time. Okay, 3-year term, and in fact, after the end of 2 terms, the member has to sit outside for at least 1 term. That is how the condition is there. Most of the time, countries like India, China, and all are members of the ECOSOC, and the ECOSOC's the control extends to over 70% of the human and financial resources of the entire system. So, in fact, of the total fund of the UN, almost 70% of the total funding of the UN system, it is controlled by ECOSOC, and ECOSOC consults with academic, business and other representatives also. There are so many non-governmental organizations with which ECOSOC will be consulting, and ECOSOC used to provide relief and reconstruction of the war-torn areas, everything, a series of activities they are doing. And also ECOSOC has been concerned with more pressing problems these days, including flow of resources from the developing to the developed nations, or various issues of even the economic growth, development, the income gap, the gap between the rich and the poor countries. So, human rights violations, housing shortage. So, many issues, or even issues like AIDS, even the issues of pandemic. So, all these things are concerns of the ECOSOC, and normally ECOSOC holds a 4-week substantive session each July. Okay. So, either in New York or in Geneva. They normally held a 4-week session every July, either in New York or in Geneva, and so that is where most of the decisions are taken, and it mainly the pillars of sustainable development, that is economic, social and the environmental issues are taken up. Okay. So, that is how this is being done. So, this is ECOSOC is a very important organ, almost 70% of the UN funding comes through that. It is very, very important, right. Then coming to the trusteeship council, the 4th one, trusteeship council. This is to deal with the freedom of the newly independent countries. Okay, the trusteeship council is to deal with the freedom of the newly independent countries. 1 second. Okay, it is to deal with the freedom of the newly independent countries after the 1950, or rather the formation of 1945 rather. So, the trusteeship council the idea is to help in the decolonization. To help in the decolonization process, but right now it has no activity, you know it very well. Okay. Right now it has no activity, the trusteeship council, because there is no colony left to be helped. But in the during 70s and 80s it was active, it was helping members to create, okay, they are helping members to what you call create a government system and the infrastructure and everything. Okay. So, that is how the trusteeship council. Then another organ is the International Court of Justice. Okay. Another member is the International Court of Justice. 1 second, let me just take up that. Okay. So, ICJ, International Court of Justice, and International Court of Justice, if you start talking about that, it has 15 judges. Okay. ICJ has 15 judges, and each member has a 9-year term. 9-year term, and it is, but the decisions of the ICJ, it is not binding. See, the Security Council can take up, okay, the Security Council can take up and implement it, otherwise it is not binding. Okay. Please remember, even the Kulbhushan Jadhav case, Kulbhushan Jadhav case, see, ICJ can give the verdict, but it cannot implement its own verdict. Okay. There is no mechanism for ICJ to implement its own verdict, that is a problem. Okay. Anyway, so that we are we have seen it separately, I am not talking about that right now. And it is normally the cases are referred to it, it cannot take suo motu case. Okay. Please remember, it cannot, it takes up, ICJ takes up cases which are referred to it, and it cannot suo motu, that means by itself it cannot take up the cases. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, it is one of the 6 principal organs, okay, 15 judges I said, and it is located, or its headquarters, it is the only organ which is not headquartered in New York. ICJ, its seat is at the Peace Palace at the Hague in Netherlands, and it is located at the Peace Palace, okay, at the Hague. India is a member, see, India is a member of the UN, so automatically India has access to International Court of Justice, and right now even one Indian judge is there. Okay. Normally, as I said, the judges are appointed for 9 years, okay, 9-year term for the judges, and normally the 2 judges from the same country cannot be there. Please remember, 2 judges from the same country cannot be there. Out of the 15, say 2 judges from the same country cannot be there. Okay. And it is the only organ not situated in the New York, I already said, is a chief judicial organ. It is also sometimes known as the World Court. Okay. It is also known as the World Court, and this is also established as part of the UN Charter, and it began its work in 1946 itself. ICJ began its work in 1946 itself and replaced the Permanent Court of International Justice, which was functioning earlier. In the Peace Palace, there is another court called Permanent Court of International Justice, which was functioning since 1922. Okay. In the Peace Palace, there is another court since 1922 called Permanent Court of International Justice, that has been replaced by ICJ, International Court of Justice, and the court settles legal dispute. Now, what are the functions of the court? Now, let me talk about the functions of the court. It settles the legal disputes submitted to it by the states. If the member states give a case, it will settle the matter. It settles the legal dispute submitted to it. That is very important. Okay. The legal dispute submitted to it by the member states and provides advisory opinion on, see, now if it is, now it settle the matter as far as the members are concerned, but it can also provide advisory opinion. One is settles the legal dispute submitted to it by the members. Number 2, it can also provide advisory opinion. It can provide advisory opinion on legal questions submitted to it by the various international branches, agencies and UN General Assembly. Okay. It can give advisory opinion on legal questions, submitted to it by duly authorized international branches. Submitted when it is on legal questions given asked by, or other I will say submitted to it by duly authorized international branches, agencies and UN General Assembly UN General Assembly. Now, you please see two different things, please do not confuse. Number one, it will settle. It will settle means final verdict will be given if member states reach the UN, if the member states apply, and it will settle the legal dispute submitted to it. It will not start by itself, that is the meaning of it, number one. It will also give advisory opinion if it is by duly authorized international branches or agencies of the UN General Assembly, it will give advisory opinion. And so, two things, if it is by the agency, if the General Assembly and all, it will give opinion, it cannot be implemented. But if it is given by member states, then it is the decision is binding, or other they have to implement. But if they did not implement, if the member state did not implement, the UN ICJ may not be able to do anything. See, for example, in the Myanmar issue, as far as the Rohingyas are concerned, ICJ took up the case when members complained about the status of those Rohingyas. It gave a verdict, but if Myanmar is not doing anything based on the verdict, ICJ cannot do anything, but UN Secretary, the UN Security Council can take an action, but not the International Court of Justice for not implementing the verdict of the ICJ. That is a problem. Okay. And as I said, the ICJ, so ICJ 9 judges, and it has jurisdiction over any dispute, but if both the concerned parties submit to the jurisdiction. Okay. So, if both the members come, they will come up with the verdict, otherwise they will not be able to come up. So, India is a party to ICJ, absolutely no doubt. Its judgment have binding force and are without appeal. So, ICJ verdict against a member state has is binding. But if you are if you respect international law, if you are a follower of the international law, then only all these things have meaning. Otherwise, there is no meaning. That is a problem. Okay. So, it is binding, no appeal. So, in the Kulbhushan Jadhav case, Pakistan is supposed to implement what the verdict was there. But if Pakistan refused to implement, not much can be done. India can again go to ICJ. ICJ may again say something, but if they are still not doing, then the only option is we can complain to Security Council, but Security Council will take a decision only if all the 5 members are agreeing to that, 5 permanent members are agreeing without veto and all. So, it is not that easy. Okay. So, recently a couple of years, I think 2018, Indian judge Justice Dalveer Bhandari, he was re-elected as a judge of the International Court of Justice. Okay. He got re-elected once again as because there is the judges can get re-elected, but normally it is appointed for 9 years, but they can be re-elected also. And how to get a member elected, how the judges are elected, Number 1, the candidate must receive an absolute majority of the votes in both UN Security Council and UN General Assembly, absolute majority in both UN General Assembly and UN Security Council. And the judge will be elected from among persons of high moral character who possesses qualification required to their respective countries in a highest judicial post. I mean, he should be a Supreme Court judge in that case, and also the various other things. So, the judges are normally based on the chosen on the basis of the qualification, not on their nationality. So, in this particular case, there was a British judge was the the opponent, or rather there were two judges were standing in when the Dalveer Bhandari election was going on. So, the British, the Indian judge, because of our popularity among the Asian and the African countries, the Indian judge, that is Dalveer Bhandari, managed to get much more votes than the British judge, and ultimately in Britain also gave up, and in the UN Security Council also that approval came, and ultimately Dalveer Bhandari got re-elected. So, there was voting, many rounds of voting took place. In all rounds, Dalveer Bhandari managed to get almost 2/3 majority in the General Assembly. So, because of his overwhelming support which we got from Asian as well as the African countries, in the Security Council, Britain gave up, and because there we need only an absolute majority, simple majority, and we managed to get it. Okay. So, all the 193 members, that is how the elections are held in the ICJ, all 193 members are automatically the party to the court, and those who are not the members of the UN may become party to the court separately, but that procedure is given separately, but all 193 members are party to the court, and the chief function of the court, I already said, settle the dispute submitted by the parties according to the international law. Court can give advisory opinion, and the United Nations Security Council can enforce the ICJ judgment as per the UN character. Please understand, ICJ judgment can be enforced, I am repeating, enforced by the Security Council. Only Security Council can enforce, okay, only Security Council can enforce the judgment, and elections are held every 3 years for 1/3 of the seats. Elections are held every 3 years for 1/3 of the seats, so that there is continuity in the ICJ. The members of the ICJ do not represent their government, but they are independent magistrates. Please remember, Dalveer Bhandari is not representing India, okay, and judges are normally represented or rather distributed as per the region. So, I said 15 judges are there, and the representation as per the region, representation as per the region. So, Africa has 3, Latin America has 2, Asia has 3, 5 from Western Europe and 2 from Eastern Europe. Just see, this is a problem. Western Europe has 5 and Eastern Europe has 2. So, that is how the 15 judges are coming. 5 from Western Europe. See, that shows the asymmetrical control of the Western Europe over the entire UN, because they created the UN. That is how it has been formed. And among the 15 judges, there is a president, a vice president, and a registrar. All these things are there, I already said. So, that is how that is how the court has been said. And but one major limitation of the ICJ, now coming to the one analysis or the limitations of ICJ, the first and foremost limitation is they are the structural, mainly because there has serious limitation in terms of structural, circumstantial, and related to the material resources made available to the court. Whatever is provided, it has no independent existence. That is one big issue, because it is all in link to the UN system. Whatever is provided to them, they have to work only in that. They have no jurisdiction to try individual accused of war crimes. No jurisdiction to try for war crimes. Any major violation of the human rights and all, or any crime against humanity, any crimes against humanity, the UN ICJ cannot do anything. It is not a criminal court. We have a separate criminal court, we can talk about that separately, but so the ICJ has no role, no jurisdiction to try war crimes or crimes against humanity. That is a big thing. And ICJ is not an apex court to which national courts can turn to. See, now if there is a Supreme Court gives a verdict in India, can we appeal in ICJ? No. ICJ is not an apex court where appeals of the national courts can be there, not an apex court where appeal of a national court. Can be there. No, it is not like that. ICJ is not an apex court where the appeal from a national court could have been there, and it is not also, even for international tribunals, it is not an appeal court. Even for international tribunals, ICJ is not an appeal court. See, we have seen in Indo-Pak relations and all, we have the permanent court of arbitration, no appeal in the ICJ, or even say a WTO verdict. If a WTO dispute resolution mechanism, World Trade Organization dispute resolution mechanism, can there be an appeal in ICJ? No, ICJ is not an appeal court. ICJ is not, and ICJ cannot take up any case suo moto. I already said ICJ cannot take no suo moto. Suo moto means it cannot take, you see some injustice going somewhere, ICJ cannot take, suppose Armenia Azerbaijan dispute. If ICJ sees something goes wrong terribly, can ICJ take up a case by itself? No. Say Supreme Court can take a case by itself in India. If Supreme Court is seeing some human rights violation going on, or any issue, blatant violation of the constitution going on, Supreme Court can take up a case by itself, but ICJ cannot take up a suo moto case. And ICJ has only the jurisdiction based on consent. That means both the parties should come and say, I have a dispute, please resolve. So ICJ jurisdiction is based on consent. Consent by both the disputed parties. Okay. And it does not enjoy full separation of power, with permanent members of the Security Council being able to veto the enforcement. That is another problem, because permanent members, the executive wing, the executive can even veto the decision of an ICJ. So that way it is not enjoying full separation of power. So there are serious limitations in the functioning of the International Court of Justice, and as I told you, one Indian member is there, Dalbir Bhandari is there. He got re-elected in 2017, not in 18, and at that time we managed to defeat the competition was between an Indian and a British judge, because that is for a few, I mean, filling the vacancy of a for a temporary vacancy who came. So in that anyway, we managed to get more votes than the British judge anyway. So that is how the whole situation was there. And that is ended. So anyway, so one last organ in the UN which I have to talk, that is the what you call the Secretariat. This is the the organ or the backbone of the UN, the administrative wing of the UN. Okay, administrative wing of the UN, and it is controlled by a UN Secretary General. Okay, it is controlled by the UN Secretary General, and normally the Secretary General is appointed for 5 years, rotated among the and the 5 groups, and after 5 years normally they are given a second term. So, ultimately 5 years or 2 terms each. Right now it is Antonio Guterres. Okay, Antonio Guterres, he is from Portugal, he was the former Prime Minister of Portugal. Okay. Before Antonio, it was Ban Ki-moon for the last 10 years from Korea, South Korea. He was there for 10 years. Before that, it was Kofi Annan. Kofi Annan from Ghana. Okay, Kofi Annan of Ghana, Ban Ki-moon of South Korea, then now it is Antonio Guterres. So, this is from Asia, then before that it was Africa, no, it was Africa, then Asia, alphabetic order it is going, now it is I think Western Europe. Okay. So, and that is how the rotation is going on. Normally they are given 2 terms each. Okay. Normally they have given 2 terms each. So, that is about the 6 different organs of the UN. Okay. That is the principal organs of the UN, and a couple of questions in between. Let me just see, I think I have answered many of these questions, but still I know you have a lot of Security Council rotation I already said, I mean just too many questions here. Anyway, is not Japan a part of N5? No, Japan has no nuclear weapon, please understand. What will be the result of US-China hostility in near future? Abhi to we will talk separately. Is India kept out of the permanent UN Security Council because of China's veto? No, no, no. See, in 1945 India was not there. Now, we have to talk about UN reforms, I will come to that. Then we will be seeing what is happening in the UN reforms. The India not being a permanent member, right now there is no controversy and all. Controversy, some people are talking that when the 1945 the talks were going on, India refused to become a permanent member. That is nonsense, India never refused and all. There is no issue of refusing, but now India wants to be a permanent member, but reforms are not taking place. Can the permanent member choose to abstain from voting? Yes, permanent members can abstain from voting. Then if 9 out of 15 members are supporting, the resolution will move forward. Security Council rotation, as that is what I said, every in a Security Council every month there is a president, presiding officer, that is all, that is the rotation. Explain 9 out of 15, meaning out of the 15 members in the Security Council, 10 are non-permanent, 5 are permanent. Any decision to be taken, 9 members should support the motion, and in that no veto. Even if one member is saying no from the veto power wielding permanent members, the resolution is defeated. That is the meaning of, I will come to that. Can other countries demand? Other countries can demand, but who will give? Can UN claim itself as a flag bearer of democracy when the undemocratic provision of veto power? Nobody is saying UN is a flag bearer of democracy. Please, who told you? You yourself are declaring. We have not declared that UN is a flag bearer of democracy. Okay. Did Security Council interfere in Iran-Iraq war? Yes, everywhere. See, it all depends whether veto power is there. Suppose UN wants to interfere, if one of the members say no, then you cannot interfere. Then another question, sir, if the verdict of ICJ is not binding, then what is the benefit? Yeah, that is, see, it is a moral victory in many cases. Okay, do not say every time benefit is termed in terms of implementing, it is also you get to know the moral victory we say. Okay. So, is there any age limit? I do not think there is an age limit. Geneva Convention is a different thing altogether. In Geneva, in many years, we have made many conventions, that is the Geneva Convention. India is a non-permanent member, yes, but yeah, why are you confusing? 9 years in the ICJ is a different thing. Non-permanent member, permanent member, that is in the Security Council. Don't confuse. Selji is confused, and don't confuse others also. Okay. If I am in company with you, I think I will also get confused. Okay. So can it take criminal cases? No. I already said it. Can any country go to ICJ on? Yeah, in bilateral issues only we go. If, for example, India Pakistan, in the Kulbhushan Yadav case, India went to the ICJ. Pakistan also agreed as a compromise. They came and the verdict came. Now Pakistan is implementing that verdict. Okay. So permanent court of arbitration is a different thing. Onkar Singh, permanent court of PCA is different. That is not a UN body. We are a member and we are participating, we are agreeing to that. PCA is different, ICJ is different, don't confuse others. ICJ is not binding, तुमको क्यों दिक्कत हो रहा है यार? नहीं है, it's not binding, that's all, matter is over. Okay, so Security Council cannot take suo motu cases. Control your questions यार, फालतू क्यों पूछ रहे? Same question again and again. Can, how do the UN get the budget? I will talk about that. UN gets budget through contribution. Control your emotions. Can UN official be biased? And they can be, there may be a biased and all, because that cannot be controlled that easily. Then kindly repeat the limitation number 1. Whatever I said is final, I will not be repeating anymore. Limitation is there are structural, the way the system is created, because ICJ is part of the UN. Whatever drawbacks of the UN are there, that drawbacks are there in the ICJ also. That is the meaning of structural, drawback. Okay. Can a non-permanent member become president of the Security Council? Yes, it is there, because only for 1 month they become the president, and president has no additional power. Why don't you UN interfere in nuclear weapon possessed by countries? We will talk separately. Maria is asking, sir, is it mandatory for ICJ to give advisory opinion? Yes, if the parties are coming, they have to give advisory opinion. Is there a dispute with member country and a non-member, then can the dispute put forth? Yeah, it can resolve, but again, non-member countries normally, if they are agreed, they have joined the ICJ, then only they can do this. And then a couple more questions, I will move forward because you are asking too many questions. Is there the dispute? And I already said, if ICJ verdict is not binding, then why did India agreed for, अरे यार तुम the Anjali Tripathi, पागल हो गए तुम. ICJ verdict is not, I said, there is no difference for you in many things. See, please don't confuse between PCA verdict and ICJ. Okay, अगर तुम्हारे सामने आने के मौका मिलता तो एक चाटा मारता तुमको अभी. Okay, so I said India-Bangladesh relationship, in the exclusive economic zone, we went to permanent court of arbitration. That is a different agency. ICJ is an organ of the UN. There is no connection between the two. Please at least understand that. When you study something, study properly. Otherwise, आधा अधूरा and इस type of सवाल भी पूछते रहेगी तुम. Okay. So, please control your emotions. Okay. So, PCA is different, ICJ is different. Don't ask. Okay. So, I am stopping it here because you people are asking unnecessary faltu questions. Right. Now, moving out of this particular discussion.